So here we go, beginning of the year, we're going to start with the metric system. And I like to start with meters since everybody's used to meters, okay? So, right here, we're going to put meter. And don't forget, meter, liter, and gram will all be in that spot. So a meter, 1 meter. Well, if I had 1,000 meters, it would be a kilo. So above it is kilo. And remember, kilo can go from a kilogram, kiloliter, or kilometer. We're going to keep with meters. So a kilo is 1,000 meters, which equals 1 times 10 to the third meter. 1,000 meters. The next one down is a decimeter. A decimeter. And that's 1/10 of a meter. So a decimeter is 1/10, which equals 0.1 meters. So it takes 10 decimeters to make a meter. So here's a meter, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 decimeters. All right, so we got 10 decimeters in a meter. The next one down is centi. And a centi is 1/100th of a meter. So we go 1/100th of a meter, or 0.01 meters. 0.01 meters. All right, so these little increments are centimeters. All right, and we'll talk about later, it takes about 2.54 centimeters to make 1 inch. But we're in metric system right now, so 100 centimeters makes a meter. Next one down is Millie. A milli, if you put your fingers as close together as possible without touching, that's a millimeter. And there's 1,000 millimeters in 1 meter. Or how much of a meter is a millimeter? Look, 1/1,000th. 1/1,000th of a meter, that would be a millimeter, and that would be 0.001 meters. 0.001 meters. Okay, so that's a millimeter, as close as your fingers can get without touching. Now the next one down is the prefixes micro. And a micro, remember that's a millimeter? Well, if you cut that into 1,000 equal pieces, each one would be a micrometer. So now it's this. So a micrometer is 1/1,000,000th of a meter, or 0.00001 meters, which is 1 times 10 to the minus 6 meters. Don't forget, a millimeter is 1/1,000th of a meter, that's 10 to the minus 3. Centimeter is 1/100th, that's 10 to the minus 2. Decimeter is 1/10th of a meter, that's 10 to the minus 1. So we're going down, and we just did micro. Well, there's 2 more spots, okay? There's nano and pico. So nano is 1/1,000,000,000th of a meter. And I'm not going to do all the zeros, too much of a pain. So that is 1 times 10 to the minus 9th. 1 times 10 to the minus 9th meters. The final one, and this is what atoms are measured in, is picometers, or pico. And that is 1/1 trillionth. And that equals 1 times 10 to the minus 12 meters. That's the smallest. Okay? So here are the scientific notations. Here's what this is. Okay? So that is the metric system. Don't forget, this could be meter, liter, or gram, but we like to do meters here so you can see what's going on. And why we have to know this? Because the next thing is factor label. And you have to know how to factor label. Okay? Before we do our first factor label, here's two conversions from English to metric that you have to know. So 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. 2.2 pounds is 1 kilogram. We're going to be using those in factor label. So in this factor label problem, we're going from kilograms to micrograms. So the first thing we have to do is we have to get out of kilograms, get out of the scientific notation. But the trick is it's not asking or giving deci or centi. If it's not giving deci or centi, then you don't have to do that. You can go right from kilo to gram to milligram. All right? No deci or centi in the question, don't do it. So we take that out of scientific notation, minus 3 places to the left. So it'd be 0.0025 kilograms. Now remember, whatever unit we want to get out of, we have to put on the bottom of the fraction. Times 1 kilogram, and since we're going down, that equals 1,000 grams. So now our kilograms blow out. The next thing we have to do is get out of grams. Times 1 gram is 1,000 milligrams. So now we can blow out of grams. And finally we go from 1 milligram going down, that will go to a microgram, and that's what we want. 1,000 micrograms. So now we cancel out the milligrams, and now we can find out the micrograms. Now, the way I like to do it, if you don't like to do it this way, you can use your calculator. But that 0.0025 times 1,000 times 1,000 times 1,000, remember we don't have to do deci or centi because it wasn't given or asked for in the question. So what I like to do is count the zeros, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So what that means is I'm going to multiply that number and I'm going to move the decimal place 9 places to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 more places. 2, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, once again, I count up the zeros on top, and I have 9 zeros. So I'm going to move the decimal place from here 9 places to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 zeros. So here's my number, and that's micrograms. But I don't like that number. I want to put it in scientific notation. So scientific notation, a whole number to the left of the decimal point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 2.5 times 10 to the 6 micrograms. All right? So that's how you do that, and that's going down. Now let's look at the chart. here's the chart. So right here, this is where meter, liter, and gram will be right there. So kilo is 10 to the 3. Remember, that means 1,000. 1,000 meter, liters, or grams. Deci is 1/10 of a meter, liter, or gram. Centi is 1/100th of a meter, liter, or gram. Millie, go over here, is 1/1000th. Micro is 1/1,000,000th. Nano, which is 10 to the 9, is 1/1,000,000,000th. And then pico, 10 to the minus 12, is 1/1,000,000,000,000th. So we can use this chart in the New York State reference table to figure out metric system. So now we're going to do our second one, and we're going to go the other way. Last time we went down the scale, this time we're going up. So I have 6.7 times 10 to the 5th picometers, and we want to go to millimeters. All right, so we have to first get that out of scientific notation. So that's what that looks like, right? 5 places to the right. So we have 4 zeros. And now we have to go from picometers up to nanometers. Remember, whatever we want to get out of has to go on the bottom. So 1 nanometer is 1,000 picometers. So now picometers are gone. And now we want to get down to nanometers, so that's got to be on the bottom. And the next one up is micrometers. So 1 micrometer is 1,000 nanometers. So nanometers are gone. And now we have to get out of micro and get into finally millimeters. So 1 millimeter equals 1,000 micrometers. The micrometers cancel. And now we're ready to finish it. So this time we have 670,000 divided by 1,000 divided by 1,000 divided by 1,000. So since we're dividing by thousands, count up the zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then you can move this decimal point to the left 9 places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 3 zeros in front. So it's point 1, 2, 3, 6, 7 millimeters. So I don't like that. We want to put that back into scientific notation. So now we move the decimal place so there's one whole number to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. So your answer is 6.7 times 10 to the minus 4 millimeters. Okay, so that's the first question was going down. The second question we went up. You just have to use the chart given in the reference table for your units. All right, so here's another one. So this one, we're not using the metric system. We're going from 2.5 days. We have to figure out how many seconds that would be. So 2.5 days times. The next thing down is going to be hours, but we got to get rid of days first. 1 day, that'll be 24 hours. So now we wipe out days, and the next thing we have to get out of is hours. So 1 hour equals 60 minutes. So now we can wipe out hours with hours. And now we go from minutes to seconds. So 1 minute is 60 seconds. So now we can wipe out minute with minute, and we're ready to solve it. So we'd have to get our calculator. So that would be 2.5 times 24 times 60 times 60. So after putting these numbers, 2.5 times 24 times 60 times 60 in the calculator, we come up with this number. So that's 216,000. And now we've got to put that in scientific notation. So now it looks like this. You take the decimal point, remember one number to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 2.16 times 10 to the 5th seconds. So that's how we do days to seconds. Now we're going to go English to metric system. So here's the next question. 45 inches, we got to convert to millimeters. So we have to get out of inches to get into the metric system. 45 inches. We want to get out of inches, so it's got to be on the bottom. So 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. So we have wiped out inches. Now we got to go from centimeters to millimeters, so we only have one more step. So we put centimeter on the bottom, millimeter on the top, and remember there are 10 millimeters to every centimeter. All right, so 1 centimeter is 10 millimeters. So now we wipe out centimeters with centimeters, and here is our answer, 45 times 2.54 times 10. So multiplying all those together, I get 1,143 millimeters. All right, so let's do another one. So what we're doing now is we're going from milligrams, metric system, to pounds. That's the English system. So I've put it all the way out there. So 2.8 times 10 to the 7 is that number. We have to get rid of milligrams first, go up, times. We put milligram on the bottom, and we are going up to grams. So we have 1,000 milligrams makes 1 gram. So now we just wiped out milligram with milligram. Now we go and we have to wipe out gram to kilogram. So 1,000 grams equals 1 kilogram. So now grams are blown out, and now we have to go, and we know that 1 kilogram is 2.2 pounds. So there's 1 kilogram, and that's 2.2 lbs. So now the kilograms are gone, and we have done that. So we have to go with this number, which is 28 million times 2.2 divided by 1,000 divided by 1,000. So now we have to put that in the calculator and figure it out. So what I did was, since I have to divide by 1,000 and divide by 1,000, that's 6 zeros. I move the decimal place to the left 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I come out with 28, and that would be times 2.2. And that is 61.6 pounds. All right, one more, and that should be enough for factor label. So our final factor label, 4.5 times 10 to the minus 6 decimeters to nanometers. So -6 means I have to move the decimal place 6 places to the left. That would be 5 zeros, and then 4, 5 decimeters. Now I have to get rid of decimeters. So what we have is 1 decimeter would be 10 centimeters. So now I blow out of decimeters. The next thing I have to do is get out of centimeters. So 1 centimeter is 10 millimeters. So now centimeters done. The next thing I have to do is get into micrometers. So 1 millimeter is 1,000 micrometers. So now millimeters are gone, and I have to get into the final thing, which is nanometers. So we want to get out of micro. 1 micrometer is 1,000 nanos. And now the micros cancel with the micros, and what we have is that number times 10 times 10 times 1,000 times 1,000. So count the zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 zeros, so I have to move that decimal point right here 8 places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it would be 450 450 nanometers. Okay?